Hi everyone, and thanks for and welcoming to Beyond the Title CXO series of Insider in the next episode. And we have a very special guest today, Mr. Gunneet, which I very honored to have him, and I will introduce him in a bit. So for those of you who haven't followed our previous episode in the series, this is a series of interview dedicated to interview the CXO or any influencer or advisor from the top leading enterprise from many top organizations in Vietnam. And our mission and visions and why we are doing this is because what we see is for companies to drive changes. It takes a lot of effort from the top managements and leadership. And normally after those companies, they adopt to these changes, then everything is going to happen in motion. And so we believe that by connecting to the CXO, to the top level management, and let them really share the core values and how they're actually going through all of this with the real people, real work, real advice, then it's going to be very inspiring for many of our leaders who are following this series. And also we're going to give a boost in terms of real actions, right, that they can do for their organizations. So we wish that we're going to bring this to the community in the form of business thinking, how to form the strategies, how to build the teams, how to deal with crises during COVID, like we're being through right now. And so each of these video going to be a story of one of the CXO in their own personal development plan as well, into who they are today, so that they're going to give a big inspirations for a lot of emerging leaders, right, to become like them one day. So this is why we are doing this. And in this episode, I'm very honored to have Mr. Gunneet. He's currently the head of products and customer engagement at Ubank, the digital bank powered by FECredit and VPBank, which is one of the fastest growing listed and profitable private banks in Vietnam. So Mr. Gunneet, our honors to have you with us. Maybe can you give a quick introduction of yourself and also about Ubank?
So I have been here in Vietnam for 9 years now, and I'm a part of the Ubank team, which is launching a digital bank, and this is a digital bank with mobile first operations only, and the market that we are targeting over here is the mass and the upper mass segment, which is very much akin to FECredit customers. So basically, Ubank is a bank which will be a combination of lending and banking put together for the payroll segment. So that's the proposition that we have got, and that's the segment that we are targeting over here. Before moving to Ubank, I have been part of the VPBank family. I have been with them for 8 years now. And before moving to Ubank, I was managing the credit card business for them. And we have been able to scale up the business to be Vietnam's biggest credit card businesses in Vietnam. And before moving into Vietnam, I have worked with organizations like American Express, ICICI Bank, Reliance Industries. So that's about me and the bank.
Appreciate it, sir. Yes, and I think I personally know Mr. Gunneet, and it's my honor because I think he's one of the few leaders that have the helicopter view on the strategy side, because he's very deep in the financial field, as we just heard. But also he a very hands-on person to setting up many departments, from marketing to operation and to many, many things, even technology. So it's very interesting that we're going to talk about in a bit as well. And the reason that we also are very keen to bring the Ubank stories to you guys is because during COVID, we see a big trend of adoptions in the digital bank world, right? Because people cannot go to the branch to make the transaction. But we also see that there is a lot of confusions in the end user because of the difference between like a bank going digital and a digital bank. So that would be something very new to a lot of people today on the call. So maybe as a start, right, for the audience who might not be familiar with all of this kind of landscape. So what do you think about the Vietnam digital banking landscape in the past 3 years? You have been here for 10 years. You see all the changes from brick and mortar to everything. So how does the change happen that you see?
I think the first so-called digital bank which was launched in Vietnam was Demo, and it was launched in partnership with VPBank. So they were, it was powered by VPBank, means they were using the license from VPBank, but they were having their own proposition, which was operating on the digital platform. Now, at that point in time, eKYC was not there, neither e-contract signing was there. So if a customer has to be engaged with the bank, has to do the basic work of signing the contracts, etc., then he has to walk into one of the TMO offices to sign the contract, and then he can be on the digital platform where he can do everything through his mobile or computer. But now, over a period of time, thanks to central bank, we have got new rules and regulations which have been launched by them, especially the digital contract signing, e-contract signing, and the second is eKYC, which has now ensured that the complete onboarding of the customer and usage of the banking service by the customer can be done remotely, and there is no need for the customer now to walk in to any of the bank branches practically. So at Ubank, there is an eKYC, then there's an e-contract, and you have your account ready to be used within 3 to 5 minutes of time. And after that, in case your usage requirements are higher, because eKYC restricts the usage at 100 million in and out per month in an account, you can have then video KYC. This means, and again, for a video KYC, you can do it from your mobile phone itself. So practically the complete journey of having a high value account being created is managed in a seamless manner at Ubank and at quite a few other banks as well. Now, customers tend to get confused with this world called neobank, digital bank. Okay, a simple explanation is this: that this is a bank which is available for you on your mobile or on your desktop, and you can do all the transactions that you would typically do in a bank branch, other than depositing cash. Over a period of time, what we have seen is that, and COVID has accelerated this pace, that even the proper banks with brick and mortar, the branch network, they have all migrated to be a digital platform bank, because COVID lockdown, people cannot come in, banking has to continue, so they have to offer all those facilities, through digital banking. So right now, so there was a time when digital banks were having probably a notch above a regular bank, but I don't think that way right now. A digital bank and a normal bank, possibly they are more or less providing same kind of facilities and services when it comes to doing them on your mobile. So this is what is there. So now, if both are the same, then what is the difference between the two? Okay, then the difference between the two comes in that what is the segment that you're targeting, and this is a segment that you're targeting, then you modify your digital proposition to meet the requirements of that very segment. So digital banks typically would pick up a broad segment, so the way we have for us, it is mass, upper mass, payroll customers is our segment. So we have designed our complete UI UX to target this segment and meet the requirements of this segment. So whether it is payments, whether it is loans, whether it is transaction banking, whether it is insurance benefits and services, everything has been designed in a way that targets the segment that we're looking at.
I see. So if I recap just now, looking back at the past 3 years, then I think the first pivotal moment is a central government bank, right? They allow us to do eKYC. I think that's the first changes that enable the banks and also the neobank to have a chance to provide this kind of services. And the second is even before COVID, I think a lot of banks is already promoting the digital bank, but might not be fully invested. But because of the COVID, right, then everybody's really
everyone is
jumping, have to, no choices, they're jumping on this. So if it's no longer a trend and it's really a confirmed things, right, that they have to do. Then what do you see as a barriers, but not from the bank standpoint? We'll talk about that later, but more from the end user standpoint, because I'm so used to go to the branch, and one day I could not go. So what is the barrier to adopt these changes, and how to overcome this in the mindset of the audience? And you can even talk about the bank going digital as well, not only like digital bank.
Let's think of this thing that why do you need to go to a bank? Okay. You typically go to a bank to deposit money. If someone says that, oh, please take this tool, this instrument, and you can do all the transactions that you're doing, in your bank account on this instrument, okay, then, and you're pretty okay with that, you're pretty comfortable with that, then the only reason why you would still have to go to a bank branch is to deposit funds, either at the counter or at the cash deposit machine, the CDMs, which are placed at few of the bank branches. Otherwise, there's no reason. Now, if you are a trader, if you are someone who is selling goods in the retail market or to selling goods to micro SMEs, if you're a trader and you are receiving the payments in cash, if you're receiving the payments in cash, then you collate that cash payments, and then you have to take it to the branch. Now, what has really happened in this journey because of COVID is that you are saying that don't give me in cash, give me digitally, give me through via QR, transfer money from your bank account to me, okay, or from your wallet onto me, and I will collate it somewhere, and then I will digitally transfer it. So the journey has not only started that how you look at the bank, but the journey has started a step before that, how you are getting cash in, and then how you're collating the cash together and then taking it to the bank. So now this is a complete chain which has been created, that the collection of the funds is now happening digitally, okay? And because the funds are coming to me digitally, it becomes easier for me to adopt digital banking, and easier for me to kind of figure it out, okay, how the mobile is working, how can I transfer funds, how can I create a term deposit of the money which is in, how can I do my bill payments, which bank is providing me better bill payment facility, which bank is providing me better free transfer facilities, so on and so forth. So the journey has not only started from the bank side first, the journey has started on the cash collection side. And COVID has ensured that this complete journey for a very large population becomes digital. I think the biggest recipient of the biggest benefit has come into these wallets and the past via QR, wherein people are comfortable saying, oh, this is a bank account number, transfer money.
So it's actually driven by the value chain, as you mentioned, right? So originally they go to the bank to deposit, but where's the money come from is from the daily operations and actions. And if those happening digitally, now they have those money stuck in the bank accounts, then organically they need to adopt the digital bank. Actually, it's an interesting fact, right? It's not about the usual need that we think it is. But of course, I think the human touch, right, is something that people always talked about because you ask a good questions that why people go to the branch, right, the bank, because a lot of digital product or even BFSI as a whole industry, like even insurance and stock exchange, for example, still require a lot of human touch in terms of people feel they can trust something, right, that this is related to money. So this is why I feel comfortable and I have to go to the branch because this is the money. So I think trust is normally one of the keywords that we see end user says the challenges. And so how would you see, is that an organic changes that's going to happen, that people have to trust because there is no other way, or there's an effort that the bank or the digital bank are going to solve it?
What is trust? Trust is a name and a face to a name, brand around it. So brand is always there. VPBank as a brand or HSBC as a banking brand is always there. The element of that, who are the people I'm dealing with, is still have a name and a face. The only difference is that they are available for you on a video call. So if in case you want to discuss, so I've got this money, I want to put in a fixed deposit, what can I do? Can you suggest me something? Can I make some investments online? Should I be parking funds? Whatever questions you have got, they are answered over a chat or over a video chat. So that element of people being there and engaging with their respective customers, relationship managers talking to their respective customers, is still there, and it's happening digitally. Of course, meeting them physically, having a chat with them, a cup of coffee with them, or a drink, going out, is always, helps up to build a bond. But yeah, so and that will, I'm sure that will continue to happen as things open up. But the fact is that it has not stopped completely because of COVID. It just moved into a different platform.
I see. So what you say is technically we would not remove the human touch, right, completely from the whole customer journey, for sure. But we're going to optimize it properly for the digital bank to run.
For a traditional bank, yes, they will not. But for a digital bank, but like for a completely digital bank, then their human touch would come in from the 24/7 call center that you have got. Okay, and the UI UX that you have, which is intuitive, which is smart, and understands what customer is thinking, and makes it extremely easy for the customer to do transactions.
Yeah, so I think it requires a huge amount of we call it brain juice, right? It's a real product here. So maybe can you share, like, walk through you guys thinking process, right? Okay, this is the traditional bank. And now we are like a digital bank, 100% online. All of the operation processes, which is normally like that in the traditional world, now we make it fully online. Some part going to be human still, some part going to be technology driven. So how is that thinking process is like for each of the functional of a normal bank?
Yeah, so one thing that I would like to add, because we are part of the VPBank family, so customers still have got an access to VPBank to deposit funds. Okay,
right.
In case he wants to, but otherwise all transactions and everything else is done on your mobile app itself. That's just wanted to add this point. Now coming back onto the mobile app, and how are we developing a mobile app and ensuring that it meets the thought process which a customer is having. It kind of natural thought process and the natural flow of the mobile app is aligned. That's what we tend to achieve. Okay. Now for that, of course, we are using various techniques of understanding customer journeys, of laying down customer journeys, doing market research, that how a customer usually evaluate the screens, what are the things they like, what are the things they don't like, a dedicated UI UX team.
Right. So as you say, right, so I think for a normal bank to transit to a fully digital bank, can you walk us through some kind of thinking process on how you guys are going to mimic or maybe even improving the components of a normal offline traditional bank to make it fully compact into just one seamless app?
Okay, so it's very simple that, first is that be very clear of the target segment that you have got. So we have got, mass, upper mass, and mass affluent as a segment that we have, that we are eyeing upon. And we look at the age group, the broad age group these people would fall in. So what kind of UI UX is what will appeal them. Okay. And basis the best UI UX practices that we have got, we develop our mobile app. But one thing that makes us different in the market is that we do not stop at that app is once developed and then we kind of live with it. But there's a continuous process that we follow to making that app better and better, basis customer feedback, basis our own judgment that we see. I would like to say that our leadership team is very much, I would say, involved to ensure that our UI UX is well suited for a Vietnamese customer. Okay, so we take good care in terms of what is the language we are using, is that language clearly communicating what we expect customer to do? We use the color design philosophy, that what color on the screen on a button would stand for what, ensuring that how the customer will know that I should be clicking over here and there is a next step that I'll be taken on to. So these are the things that, that we have been able to gather skill set from the market to make this thing really, to make UI UX extremely seamless for the customer.
So tying back to what you say, right, about the upper mass and to see all of the income and spending changes. And also you mentioned briefly about your team, right, of the relevant skill set. I think that's most important because this initiative, a lot of, let's say, bank or ecosystem, right, can do. But the reality from the ideations to execution and to launch it is a very, very different story. And especially now we are talking about like replacing like a traditional world in a way. So in my imagination is a combination of technology, of marketing, of data, of even customer service, right? So how is the process of launching, as in building the team back then? Like what is the components, maybe skill set that you think is required to make this project success?
So I think we have been lucky to have a right mix of people with digital experience, people with banking experience, people who are extremely focused on how customers see and perceive things. So we have been able to have different skill sets coming in from different people, and we coming together as a team. One philosophy that we clearly follow, and this clearly comes in from the top, is that the customer has to be treated with the best possible product and the best possible process. It should not be like this, that we create something which is substandard. It has to be the best possible product, best possible process, and the customer should be able to kind of enjoy it thoroughly end to end.
Right. And I think we also hear this from broader other vertical industry, like even FMCG or direct-to-consumer brands who they're trying to transform themselves, right? We call it digital transformation as a big term. And we also do hear very often, most likely 90%, that the reason this project failed is a mindset and the leadership. So if you were to have like a 2 or 3 critical leadership advices for others, right, to transform your organization, it could be transformed digitally, or it could be any kind of transform in the way they make money even, right? What are the critical advices on the leadership mindset and action maybe?
Number one should be the philosophy that is driving you. Why is very important. That why are we doing this? Why are we creating this? What is the end result that we intend to achieve? And so that why will help us to answer everything. So our why is that we would like to ensure that the customers, the FECredit customers who are there with us, who take loan from us, we are able to give them a banking platform and a loan combined together, so that there is no need for them to go anywhere else. Their payroll, their banking, their lending, all the 3 requirements are met in one place. Digital is definitely a buzzword also to a very large extent. And many consultants and many people would come and say that, oh, you need this digital tool to do this, you need this digital tool to do this. So be very clear, try to have this buzzword and the noise separately, and then you clearly see that to what extent do you really need to have this digital transformation really done. If it is working well and this process is good for next 4 or 5, next 2-3 years, as you see, there's no need to touch it. There might be something else which might be under pressure because of the changes in the behavior of the customer and customer moving to the digital side. So look at that. Just don't do a digital transformation because consultants are coming and talking to you about it.
Golden advice. I think it's worth $1 million. Why? Because if you jump on this board, it might cost you a lot, right? A lot. And then if it doesn't serve, so let's take away here is the hashtag number 1 is why. Got to be clear. Hashtag number 2 is discipline to deliver on these why promises. And hashtag number 3 is a focus in the sense of not distracted by the buzzword and do it for the sake of follower, right? Not know why. very clearly. So to empower the transformations, which I personally know you as a person, you are extremely data-driven person as well. And there is a lot of, again, another buzzword during this day about like really understand the customers and being a data-driven companies, right? We all know it's important. So to be the modern bank like this, what is a core critical, let's say, technical components in terms of framework? I'm not talking about specifically one thing, but generally to be sustainably growing in this trend of digital first. What are the core tech things, and data included, right? And how to actually leverage it properly?
You're not talking to the customer face to face. You're not meeting the customer face to face. Okay. You cannot read his expressions and when you show him something, yeah, I'm not liking it, it's good, so, and those expressions speaks 1,000 words. So everything comes down to this very fact that how exactly he is interacting with your mobile app that you have given to him. Okay. And every interaction and drop off points or complete journeys would speak a volumes about whether the customer is liking it, whether the customer is not liking it, he is comfortable with it, not comfortable with it, so on and so forth. Okay. Now, and all these touch points are getting captured, by apps flyer, by different SDKs that you attach with your mobile app. All these customer behaviors are captured in form of data, and then it comes to your data warehouse. The story starts from here, that once the data is all there and it's all digital data, so you can be sure of that, oh, it is there in the form that can be used by the machines. The reading of the data starts from the right question that the business manager is asking. Okay, that why customer is not doing this, or why customer is doing this. And then you go back to answer that question. So data in itself will not start speaking. Okay. You need to have the capability of asking the right question. And then, to answer that question, then the BICC team, your business intelligence team would pull out data and would try to analyze it and would try to find an answer to your question. And your ability to ask your questions would be directly proportional to your ability to understand the customer segment that you are targeting. Okay, so I think it's less of a challenge with data, because data will get captured. Okay, it's everything. It's more in terms of your ability to ask the right questions.
Is that data is important, but it's more important of a mindset to ask the right questions. I think it's more important. And then the data centric would need to be driven bottoms up as well, and not only top down, which is normally from other, they're just saying from the top, right, that you have to adopt this. But technically, if the people at the bottom, they don't, then.
So training these people how to use tools, how to use data, how to access data, how to make different reports, making them comfortable with data is part of the process.
Normally, I have a follow-up questions on this, is that assuming that they have a good mindset and they do analyze data in the right way, right, with the right questions, and meaning that they will come out with the right, let's say, right things. The part of taking action from the data, from my past experience, is hard to be effective because it requires a lot of cross-organizations collaborations, because the action that could be taken sometimes falling into the product team, or let's say falling into the growth team or commercial team or financial product team, or sometimes called customer service. And in one of our webinar before, they tend to design like a squad of team to actually empower taking the action out of the data. So what's your view on this? How to make sure the insight can be taken, leverage, and bring out some real changes, right? From many teams, not only from the data and insight team.
Now, everyone is kind of engaging with the customer, and they're trying to, once a customer is on board, the marketing guy is looking at, selling him another product. The service guy is also ensuring that, oh, he's using the current proposition well and possibly move on to the next level. So it's all units are involved when it comes to meeting the requirements of the customer. And if I take it forward to the next level, then it comes to the point of customer centricity. Are you a customer centric organization, or you are a product centric organization? If you are a customer centric organization, then what you're saying is that the analysis which comes out of the change in the customer behavior would mean that, oh, there's a particular product that should be dropped or should be cut, and another new product proposition should be created.
So take a step back from Ubank, right? Because I think you are in the current champion league and has been accumulating tons of years of experience across so many different things. So I think if we look at you like a role model, right, for someone to
Really?
groom into, because I'm sure you have made a lot of also mistake like anybody else in your life, and you also make a lot of right choices in your life. So maybe going to Vietnam 10 years ago, I don't know if it's a right or wrong, but what is the story that bring you to Vietnam from India?
So I was working with American Express at that point in time, and a friend of mine who's a McKinsey consultant, reached out to me with this proposition, saying that there's a bank in Vietnam. They're looking out for a head of cards. Would you be interested in that? And I said, okay, let me just come and talk to them. At least I'll see a new country. Okay.
Yeah.
So I landed up in Hanoi, and Hanoi was not the Hanoi that we see now. 10 years back, it was very different. And so I met them. They made me an offer, but at that point in time, I was not too sure whether should I be leaving Amex to go and join a small bank in Vietnam.
Right.
But they were pretty persistent, and somehow I end up interacting with them over a long period of time, and then I decided to make a move, and I landed up here in January of 2012. Immediately after the Tet holidays, to be here, and I've been here since then.
10 years ago, I'm sure you are very different. So how has Vietnam transformed you? What is the most different things in your personality? I'm not asking about your life, more about personality. If you were in India 10 years, right, so far versus now, what is the key change?
I've been working with young people, people who are Gen Z, millennials. I have to say one thing which I'm learning is ensuring that I understand really well what the other person is saying. Because there's a language barrier, there is a cultural barrier. Okay. So this now I ask more questions to be sure of that. Oh, this is what you mean, and this is what I understand, and this is what we agree. Okay. So I think these three things, of clarifying the understanding, having an agreement, is another thing. Working with young guys, young people always gives you a lot of energy. So this means that you be open to the ideas of this, coming in from anywhere, and you give people the freedom to execute it. And I've seen it works so well. I have seen people in my team developing real complex softwares to meet one of the requirements that we were having, able to channelize it, and the guys are in the right spirit and the right way of thinking. That's amazing.
So I think empower, right? So understanding, empower, and leverage them. But of course, to be let's say in general foreigners, right? Because of language barriers and everything is hard. So how do you see the Vietnamese younger generation? Because you work a lot with them, right? Versus the key difference versus India. I'm sure a lot of people, India is a home base of technology, hands down. No one can comment on this. In a way, Vietnam is an emerging one, right? But so a lot of people think it's the same. It's a very strong technical hub, but I'm sure there is a difference in the cultural and how people are reacting in general. So what are those cultural differences between India and Vietnam?
I think and I think that Vietnam is better than India over here. I'll not be shying away from saying that. In Vietnam, it is very much, the spirit of working together is there, of being respecting other people, having a relationship-driven approach to get things done, to get things delivered. It's very strong in Vietnam, and I've seen people working, and getting things done and delivered in a very smooth way. Confrontation is not something which is very common. Okay, so people love to kind of understand each other's requirement and then mutually try to find a solution and get it delivered. For them, speed is important, but more important than that is that the work is done in the right spirit.
Thank you for noticing that and saying it. So it really means a lot to us in general. I think that's probably what I also think 10 years ago when you come in and go to Vietnam, right? Is a big risk taker, in my opinion. I'm not sure if I dare to go there, because 10 years ago, Vietnam economy in general could just not be as promising as right now, right? Mm-hmm. So that's take a lot of leap of faith. And I'm sure if that's your characteristic, you would make a lot of critical change like that, decision like that in your life too. So what are some of your model, right? Like your guidelines in your building your career path? Because I'm sure there is a pattern. Or if not, then what is the most common mistake that you have made that probably if you go back like 20 years ago, you would not do it?
I think I would still do all the mistakes, because all those mistakes have got to, to have an amazing learning, to have an amazing journey, which was having its own, ups and downs. So I think I would still go the same journey again. I'll not say that I'll not do the mistakes, but I think let's focus on the things that you can do right. Clearly, focus on networking, extremely important. Meet and know as many people as you can, and share value with them. One principle which I've always agreed to and kept is that whenever you're interacting with someone, make sure that you leave some kind of a value to that person. Okay, so that interaction is fruitful for you and for the person as well. Okay, I think that thing ensures that whenever you're meeting people, they find you valuable, you find them valuable. So you ask them questions to learn from them. Okay, so you find your interaction to be valuable with them, and if you click, then the relationship continues, and you continue to be each other, to learn from each other over a longer period of time. Clearly, it's not important that you keep on meeting them, very often, that you have to meet them, but staying in touch with people is something that you can do. Sharing something which is relevant to those people. When you first spoke to them and you come across that very part, you send across a mail to them, you send them a quick message to them and tell them, oh, I came across this thing and I think you would like it, I'm sharing it with you. I think that's one thing. Try to do in your career of adding value and sharing knowledge wherever you can, and having discussions with people on that very aspect. It will help you to become sharp within your areas of expertise, and also build up good relationships. I think second would be that never be afraid of trying out new things. Focusing on executing it and taking an actions on it is more important than the strategy part. The third thing which you should be doing is always speak out your mind. I started doing this thing very late in my career.
Interesting.
But speak out your mind. Whatever you feel right, wrong, fair.
Very critical. No, I'm surprised. There's a lot of not in the playbook kind of advice, right? So number one is a network. Number two is fully action oriented, especially I think when you're younger, right? The values come from the work you've done. And then lastly is speak out. Actually, this one is normally what hinder a lot of team collaboration, right? Because they don't really speak out. They make assumption. It creates hidden politics back of the table. So that makes that's very valuable advices. And amazing. You just brighten my days. Life's getting tough, and I think during COVID, a lot of leaders is really tough times, and sometimes they kind of losing the why somehow, right? But as you say, sometimes just to reconvene ourselves and reminding why we start, and then just keep going. So it has been amazing pleasure to have you with us today.
Same here,
And
Jax.
yeah, and I think for the audience, they have learned not only about the new digital bank transformations, the new neobank digital bank, but a lot about organization structure, the mindset, the changes, the leadership, and also learn about how you can adapt to the Vietnamese culture, and you love it. So that makes me so proud of us as a Vietnamese people. That's where we have Beyond the Title, right? It's a place where people can be open. You can reflect on your whole life until this moment, and sharing this to the world. This philosophy with the real stories would give a real inspirations to leader to create change in the organizations. And Mr. Gunneet, he's a real person, and you guys are feel free to connect with him. I can help you guys too if you want to learn more about him. So again, thank you, sir. And then wish you the best and your family and Ubank. And we're gonna try your card. Yes.
Yeah, please do that. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Okay.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã theo dõi chuỗi series CXO Beyond the Title của Insider. Hãy tiếp tục subscribe, like, share và comment, và hẹn gặp lại các bạn trong video lần sau.